3.6 example, The Followers, a near-future horror tale. Here's the final example I'm going to show you. It's a made-up book called The Followers, and the premise is a techno-cult story about a rogue AI that is taking the social media feeds of dead people to make them into NPCs inside of unsuspecting victims' AI-generated worlds, convincing victims to kill themselves. Yes, very jolly stuff. Don't blame me, I don't write these books. The whole premise of this book, I feel, tends towards my favorite sorts of book covers, and that's something powerful and abstract. It's all about flavor rather than subject. So we're going to try out some methods where our subject will just pop out when we least suspect. A very trust our eyes exercise. Example 1. We're going to return to the new feature, Moodboards, with this one. Don't worry, in the final example I'm going to show you how to build these yourself. But for the moment, let's see what MidJourney does when we ask it to make a painting for our genre, a near-future horror story. Ready Player One meets Black Mirror meets the Sion Sono 2001 film Suicide Club. Let's run this prompt a couple of times and add the profile codes of a few mood boards I've got set up. There are links below this video if you want to copy and paste them and use them yourself. And there's even more codes if you sign up for my Here to Help subscriptions. There's a link below for that too. Let's go to MidJourney and see how that works out for us. There's quite a few of these to do. Are we there yet? Yep, we're almost there. So MidJourney seems to understand these 3 reference points that I've asked it for. There's some very book cover worthy images here, and there are some things here worth exploring, making variations on, or even just liking. Sorry if some of the images were a bit visceral or creepy, but we were talking about horror here. Example 2. I really liked our mood board experiments from the first example, so what I'm going to do is try a new subject. Let's take a look at a rogue AI that haunts people's social media feeds with their own past. Strange worlds, interconnected, and the mood board that caught my eye was the one with the code VIJN9YJ. So let's try that one out. Let's go to MidJourney and try that out. Run it a few times. Yep. Just as interesting as our original subject, but it takes our design in a different direction. Example 3. I'm addicted to this mood board, so let's repeat this experiment using the code for this style. But let's try out a new subject from our checklist. This time, let's use the techno ghosts of people that should be dead, glitching. Let's go to MidJourney and use our new subject. Rerun it a few times. Completely different results, but there's also some interesting stuff there too. And this helps us understand how MidJourney looks at our different subjects, and now gives us lots of fun options to pick from in that style. So it's always worth exploring the same style, but with different subjects, just to see how it changes the results. Sometimes a style we've found will simply implore us to explore our different subjects. Example 4. As an author, you desire and yearn for detail. You're told, show, don't tell. Write more description. Let the reader know. But as a designer, I always tell myself, simplify and reduce. More space. More elegance using composition. Because these things ultimately mean more clarity. And clarity is needed for effective communication. These are all things that will make your book cover stand out against all the overly complex, visually muddy offerings from amateurs. So as the last example on the last of our 3 books, what I'm going to do is try something different out. I'm going to show you how to build a mood board, and we're going to make a really simple abstract one. If we go to the Personalize page from the menu on the left, you'll see there are options for building our new personalization profiles or for us to build a new mood board. We're going to click on the Create Mood Board button, which takes us to a page where we have a few options for how we can achieve this. We can upload images that we have saved to our computer. We can also simply drag and drop images from our computer into this web page too, which does the same thing. Secondly, we can give URLs to images we might have found. Or finally, we can take images from our gallery, basically anything we've already made on MidJourney. I'm going to do the last of these things because I already have some images I've made in a folder to show you how this works. So let's go to the folder and select them all. Click on back, and you can see it's added all the images to the mood board. And let's rename it Black Abstract. Let me explain what mood boards are. They work in pretty much the same way as style referencing, but without all the dragging images into the create bar and all that blasted clicking on the paperclip icon. And we can use up to 100 images for a mood board, so you can get some very interesting results. But basically, it trains the system on all your images. The incredibly useful thing with mood boards is that it gives us a code. This code can be reused on any subject and can even be shared with other MidJourney users. Or if we're using it ourselves, all we need to do is copy that code, which puts it in the create bar. Let's do that now. The first time you do this, it creates a really long version of the code, but shortens it later. These codes will remain the same as long as we don't change the images inside of the mood board. But for the moment, let's try out a new subject with this one we've made. Let's go back to the Create page. And for this example, we're going to use the subject, a glitchy vapor smoke silhouette of a figure on a black background holding a mobile phone. And also, I'm going to add --S 800. Because the higher the S number, the more it uses our mood board. So if you put 800, it's pulling 80% of our mood board. Let's hit enter on the create bar and rerun it a few times. I'm not really feeling these. Some are slightly interesting. It might be because we've not got the prompt right, or maybe we need to go back and re-edit the images in our mood board, which you can do by going back to the Personalize page and clicking on the mood board image and removing or adding more images. But you get an idea of how you can build your own mood boards and explore your subjects. And actually, let me show you my quick method for getting consistent mood boards. We want all the images we're going to put in there somewhat similar. So let's go to the Explore page and type Abstract Glitch Ghost. I like this one. So I'm going to drag it into the Create bar, hit the paperclip to set it as the style reference, and copy and paste Abstract Glitch Ghost from the search to the Create bar. Add -Chaos 15 so we get some variance. Also, let's add -R3 so we have a few to pick from. Let's go to the Create page and see what we have, all pretty similar. Or we could even go to one we like and hit Very Strong to get more that are closer to that image. Now we've got lots of material we can put into our mood board, so we go to the Personalize page, create a new mood board, select Add from Gallery, select 8 to 15 we really like, and then hit back. And we could rename this Glitch Ghost. And then hit Copy Code and go back to our Create page, scroll down to where we were making this last set, and click on the text to add it to the Create bar, hit Enter, and click on the Create page to scroll to the top to see what it's made. Interesting. Also, this mood board can now make any manner of image in the same style. Let's test that out. Let's use this whole prompt and change the text to a dog resting on a sofa, and hit Enter. So mood boards are a super powerful tool to build things like this if you want consistency. They're like style referencing on steroids because all you need is a few pictures and then you have a code you can use anywhere. So to recap this book and the examples. 1. We can use other genres of media as reference points. 2. This allows us to actually let go of subject and see what comes out the other end by trusting our eyes. 3. If we find a style we actually like, a style referencing, or Moodboard, it is well worth trying it with different subjects. 4. We can make our own mood boards with images we've made or found, so maybe make your own mood boards. As you'll see from all 4 examples from all 3 books, it's a very hit-and-miss process to find great images that are going to work for our book covers. I only tried 4 things out for each book, but we could spend a whole day exploring lots of different ideas, especially if I was doing a commission for a client, and this is exactly what you need to do. Explore and trust your eyes. Just simply play. But these examples should provide you with some ways you can explore and get messy. When finding a good subject, this is very dependent on the style we also employ when playing with ideas, but as long as we make a checklist of words, then at least we have some ideas to play with. But what other words can we chuck into the mix to improve our images? Well, there is a trinity of other considerations that really help improve our image results. Some of these we've already touched upon, but let's get a bit more up close and personal with them. These are mood, color, and direction. See you in section 4.